Person 74. So the title of your reading is Remember. So just I don't even know where I want to start. So I took a lot of liberty in reading you. So try and stick to the bigger picture things. If when I get kind of detailed, I'm not going in the right direction. So because of your traditional name, I kind of took some liberties in the direction I think they were trying to point me in, but I might have used too much kind of left brain to do that as well. So just stick to the bigger picture if it gets a little kind of too specific in some points. But so the energy manifests onto the Rainbow Road, and I think it's the name of this advertising thing is like Snuggles. I think it's that downy fabric softener, that little like teddy bear that like wraps himself up in the blankets, and he's always perceived as like super soft. And so I don't know if there's any connection to this for you, but what he was trying, then he kind of led me to the next component, which is where it really begins. So I don't know if you have any connection to that specifically, but that little teddy bear came in, the little fabric softener advertisement guy came in and then took me right into visual imagery. It was like past life, but don't think past life, like, don't think time, space in here. So past life is a recurring theme in always played out in the current life. But so instead of seeing a lot of symbology on the Rainbow Road, I went right into like real imagery. So I see this woman, and she almost has this Mennonite Quaker feel to her, and she's wearing one of those bonnets, and she's on the top of this grassy hill, and her house is very, very modest, very small behind her. I don't see the house at all, but you walk out, and this is your energy, and you walk out onto the top of this hill, and you have laundry in your hands, right? So and there's all those clotheslines out on the hill, right outside of your door, and at the end of the clotheslines there's this big tree, and so it feels very very simple life. But anyways, the sun is shining. It was just really beautiful, and you have this basket of laundry that you're getting ready to hang on the clothesline. And so basically you start, clipping all these like sheets and whatever up on this clothesline, and it's taking you forever, but you're looking down the hill at this other house. And so your gaze is always focused on this house, and I know you're waiting for something. I feel this deep like sense of waiting, of watching, of hoping. There's almost like a desire. I don't know. I'm like waiting for kids to show up. I'm waiting for somebody to come over the hill. Like I'm waiting for something, and it feels family oriented, but I'm not quite sure. And so you just keep hanging laundry, and you're just waiting. There's this deep sense of almost like emptiness, and you're waiting for something to come and fill that. And so it takes forever, and finally I'm like, okay, you got to move me down to that house or to the next point. And so then after you're done hanging the laundry, you like sit in this rocking chair, and now you're like rocking on this grass, just looking out down this hill at this other house. And so I'm okay, let's move on. I'm not getting anything here. I just keep getting this kind of like loneliness or this open waiting. And so finally I'm like, okay, we have to go see this house. So we move your energy down, and you kind of like slide down this hill, and now you're down at this house that you've kind of been looking at. This house is like boarded up. There's almost like those 2x4s like nailed in over the windows and the door, and we look in, and there's no electricity. Everything's empty. It's almost as if, and I got this feeling like people were cleared out, the family was made to move, or there's like an emptiness with the family. There's no family there. And so I'm starting to connect, and maybe starting to kind of understand where we're going with this. So I get this detachment from family, and there's this longing or this waiting for family, and this feels very traditional, like and it feels like something was removed, right? So then from here, the energy, so I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. So there's times where like they pull those memories out, right? And then they put them in the pensieve, and like whenever somebody looks in that pensieve, they get kind of like taken through the memory. And so that's what happens. So I'm getting, we're following some kind of thought process here. So I'm like getting pulled through this like liquid metallic stuff, and then finally it like manifests into Professor Snape, but I'm getting headmaster in school. And so I get that there's this, so we're going from family and this longing, this removal of family or something, and then I'm getting pulled through, so I'm feeling like it's a timeline pull into school headmaster, so removed for school or something. And there's this emphasis on school, and then almost instantly I'm like watching the Professor Snape kind of walk across a room, and then it transitions into this like multicolor rainbow. And so I see it's like the rainbow is, usually I see the rainbow horizontal, but this is like I see you're at one side of the rainbow, and you basically are being put from the ground floor, moving up the rainbow and down. So I'm getting that there's this reasoning of like, and we're going from like one life to another, and I get very Wizard of Oz, like, and I hear that Somewhere Over the Rainbow song playing, and I get that we're like moving from one concept of a world, of a land, to like another, and like grass is always greener comes up, and like, so I get that you were pulled from one place to another place, and it was like I'm getting this like different life or something, you know, there's this energy of wanting to move you over the rainbow to give you that like technicolored, you know, when Dorothy wakes up and everything's totally different. And so from there you get trapped in like Glenda's bubble. And it's funny because when you're in her bubble, you're sitting down cross-legged like a little girl, like with your fists, you know how like kids sit down Indian style, elbows on their legs, and their fists are holding up their chin, and they just kind of look grumpy. So that I see you as this little girl looking like that, and like you're being pulled in this bubble, and you're being moved towards the Akashic records. But it's really interesting because as soon as you get pulled far enough away, like everything turns like dark, and then there's this big black scary castle, and it feels like if you were to, I had a soundtrack of like Halloween haunted music, right? And it's got this like scary looking black castle on the front, but it's playing out in 3D, right? So there's like lightning going off in the background, and it's like as soon as the bubble pops, you're down and you're really scared, and you're like tiptoeing, and I hear all those like creaky floorboard sounds as you walk up towards the castle. And so really kind of scared here, and you then open the door of the castle and you move in, and it's totally empty again. There's like nothing but cobwebs, and you're in total fear. It's like you're looking around, you're waiting for the ghost to jump out at you, you're waiting for something to get you. It's just like this total sense of fear. And so you tiptoe around, you know, and so Akashic records are always wisdom and connection, and like divinity, right? Your connection to divinity. And so I'm getting that there's an underlying component of fear here, and so I call down your higher self and I say, what's for the greatest good for this person to know at this moment in time? And your higher self comes down as the Glenda, and so now everything changes. You know, it's like, I know we don't see Glenda's castle in The Wizard of Oz, but if you did, that's what it would look like. It's like very shiny, white, glittery, like open, you know, very bright. And so as your higher self comes down, this is what it changes into, and so it's very comforting and comfortable now. And she basically engages and talks to me, and I say, you know, what's for this greatest good for this person to know? And she says that they're not lonely, they're not alone. She said she's not alone, and that there was one other word, something about like loneliness or connection, and that basically you're not alone. And then pulling me back through all the imagery, and I get that there's this disconnect, and trust me when I say that I don't think you would own this. So when I went through my own like healing process, moving through the chakras, The root chakra was the absolute hardest to see and understand and admit to. Like anytime I was working on my own healing process, I'd always swear that the root chakra was fine and like I don't have to worry about that energy. I've got a great family, I'm connected, I'm present. But always when I'd meet spiritual teachers or mentors or whatever, they'd be like, your root chakra is so off. And I'm like, no, that's the one thing that I have under control. That's the only thing I feel like I've mastered. So root chakra stuff is typically like, and I get that you've put maybe a lot of, and I saw all these band-aids, it's almost like you've covered up your true feelings about like root chakra, and I'm getting like family grounded, like you belong, it's stability, it's not having fear, it's having trust in everything in life around you, and it's the hardest thing to admit or understand about yourself until you really go through kind of a self-actualizing process and look at this. Like I feel like there's this persona or there's this archetype like hidden so small, and it's like that pea under all the mattresses. Like you can't, I almost get like you don't, you've covered up something that is a truth that you need to know, and your higher self was saying, and they went super far out. They went way into like universal, that we're all one. They went like super esoteric and belief here, and they said she needs to understand and acknowledge that that like every person around you. So I get this feeling that like if you're in a room of 100 people, that you could still feel lonely, but that you wouldn't admit this or you wouldn't know this feeling because you've covered up this feeling somehow. And so I get that they were saying that, you know, she needs to know that like every human or every soul you come in contact is just like a reflection of you, and we're all like the same, you know, light source. And they got so super cosmic with this, that we are all like one. Like they went into singularity. Like she needs to know that everybody is living this existence, and everybody is her, and she is everybody, and like she needs to understand that like this connection to everybody. And I was feeling so much energy run through my body, and they were saying, remember, remember, remember. And every time they said remember, I got these like energy surges going through my body, just that like I am you, you are me type of a thing. And it doesn't matter. So I'm being pulled way back, you know, to the beginning of like this house, this abandoned family, this, you know, transition, this shift, whatever happened. And again, I went really specific here, but it could be bigger picture than what I'm specifically saying. But that everything that's happened was to teach you to love yourself more and connect more into your own soul's journey. And that as soon as you can find that deep love and acknowledgement of your own journey, that you're going to then understand whatever all these other people's journeys are that maybe has affected you in your own life. But it's like this deep love and cultivating that over yourself and wherever you are, so that you feel that connectivity to everything and everyone around you. It was just this very like, she's not alone, remember. It was like way out, you know, cosmic stuff. So I hope I didn't get too specific or use my left brain too much here to analyze, but that's kind of what I got. So let me know if it connects or not, and I'll help more if I can, with light and love.